everybody, this is Elisa Gomez with BreckCreate. I teach figure drawing classes Tuesday evenings from 6 to 8:30, and then I teach a outdoor plein air painting class Thursdays from noon to 4. Today's class is going to be another beginner figure drawing class based on learning the proportions of the body and being able to draw them accurately without having to have a model or a figure that you are drawing from. Now this video is going to be different from the first video that we learned from. There are multiple ways to learn how to draw the figure proportionately. There are lots of different methods, and it is more helpful to learn these different methods so that you can master them all and utilize them all when you are drawing the figure rather than just sticking to one method. So this is a very simplified method. Again, we aren't going into the anatomy or any details of the body, just learning how to do the proportions correctly. What you will need today is a piece of paper, either a pencil or a pen. Pencil, of course, is preferable with an eraser, so you can change any mistakes you might make. A pencil sharpener, and then a spare pencil if you have, in case something happens to your original pencil. A ruler is handy but not super necessary. Any flat edge surface will do, just to help you do the lines that we'll be doing in here. There are more lines in this tutorial than the first, so a ruler is preferable, but again, if you don't have that, that's okay. You can use the spine edge of a book, you can use an additional piece of paper. Any of those will do to help you make straight lines. So again, we're learning about the proportions today. It's going to be learning two different versions, the front view and the side view or profile view. We're going to do those side by side in a very simplified form so that you can understand how to draw the body. Let's get started. All right, so today's video again is going to be focusing on understanding the proportions of the human figure. We're going to break it down again in the fundamentals, learning proportions from multiple angles, the front view and the side view. This is going to be a similar version as the first video, the ideal proportions, also known as the Vitruvian man. It's going to be 8 head proportions tall. We learned about these units of measurements in our first video, and we'll continue to use this as a unit of measurement for this and moving forward. So I've got my ruler, pencil, spare pencil, and a pencil sharpener. If you don't have a ruler, you can use another page, anything, the spine of a book, anything that's going to give you a straight edge. So since we're going to be drawing two figures, I'm going to start on the left-hand side for my front view figure, give space to be able to draw another figure over here. We're going to start, similar to the first video, by drawing a straight line all the way down. I'm going to again make this 8 inches long, similar to the first video, so that I can use this unit of measurement moving forward. You can do however long or short you want, but this is going to be 8 inches long. Next, we're going to go ahead and just divide this line into our 8 equal parts. And if you don't have something to measure with, what you can do is start by eyeballing your line in half, and then cutting that in half on both sides, and then into quarters again. But since I have my ruler, I'm going to go ahead and mark on the inch line all the way down, marking the bottom and the top as well. Now that we have the total height of our figure, we are going to find the width of our figure. And the width of our figure is going to be moving outward from the center about 1 1/3 head width, which we talked about at the beginning of this. These are each called head measurement. So it's going to be about 1 1/3 of this measurement right here, moving outward equally each direction. And I'm going to kind of eyeball this. I've got my inch plus some. I'm going to mark it. And again, you can eyeball it. So it's just going to be 1 plus a little moving out. We're going to do that at the top and at the bottom so that we can make a grid for our figure here. Now we're going to connect these lines. All the way from top to bottom. And we're going to block it in at the bottom and at the top. Whoops. There you go. Next, we're going to go ahead and we're going to make a line going across each of our measurements, going all the way down so that we have, and I'm going to just erase this here, so that we have a total grid system. So go ahead, and it doesn't have to be exact. Again, if you don't have a ruler, just do the best you can with your straight lines, creating a grid all the way down our figure. All right. So this is going to be our front view, and I'm just going to label that. At the top here, this is going to be the front view measurement for our figure. For the side view, I'm going to go ahead and draw another line going straight down the same length. And to make sure I do that, I'm going to go ahead and draw my bottom line here all the way across and my top line first, so I know where I'm starting. And then I'm going to just do another line going straight down all the way. So the method we're doing today is, like I said, a little different than what we did in our first video. There are lots of different ways to get the correct proportions measured out for your figure. And you'll probably see a few different ones after this as well. But understanding all the different ways is going to make it easier for you to understand how to get the proportions correct in your figure, and it will become easier for you to do that without having to watch these tutorials. So this is, again, going to be very simplified. Like the first tutorial, it will talk a little bit more about anatomy. We're not going to go into anatomy too deeply in this tutorial. We'll do that later on. So we're going to go ahead and lightly draw these lines going all the way across. We'll be using a few different measurements as we go, but just so that our eyes have a good visual moving forward, we're going to create these lines. And again, not too dark so they don't get in the way, because we'll be using some other measurements as well, but just so you can see what's going on. So next we're going to start with the head, again, as that is our unit of measurement. And we're going to start doing a circle at the top of our box here that comes slightly below halfway of this box, so maybe about here. We're going to do a circle and then just finish it off with sort of an oval shape This is going to be our head. And we're going to come over here, do the same thing. Draw a circle and just drop it down a little. We're not going into any facial features today, just keeping things very simple for our proportion measurements. So next we're going to drop down to our second box here, which is where the nipples will be. And these are going to be 1 head width wide of each other. And this is our nipple mark. So we're just going to eyeball, maybe use your fingers. They're not going to be too important, but more for a visual. We're just going to drop those down right here. So next we're going to take this second box and divide it into thirds. And you can eyeball that as well. This is how we're going to find our shoulder placements. So the top third of the box is where our shoulders are going to start, and it's going to also begin how we're going to find our torso. So taking this top third line here, we're going to go ahead and draw a line going all the way across, and we can go ahead and take that line and draw it across to our side view as well. And you can make that line just a little darker since we will be using that for some body measurements. Next, we're going to take these side boxes here and we're going to divide that in half. Just lightly eyeball it. That is where our shoulders are going to drop down. All right, so starting to box this in. All right, now that we've finished this tutorial, you should have a better understanding of how to draw the human figure with the correct proportions in a simplified way, but with some depth as well, since we have done the front view and the side view this time, not just the front view. Now again, we have done this in the idealistic 8 head proportion form, and we will continue using this as a means of measurement moving forward for other tutorials. So always just keep that in the back of your mind. Practice this as much as you can. Practice the first lesson as well, and try to utilize both of those in drawing your figure. And you should, like I said, be able to draw a figure without having to have one right in front of you. Understanding the joints that we learned in today's lesson as well will help you to be able to draw the figure, the front view or the side view, in different forms, different motions, perhaps moving the body with the correct proportions from the joints that we drew into our figure today. So make sure you check BreckCreate.org for future classes, future events. Things are changing all the time and we're adding new classes all the time. So check out BreckCreate.org. That will also link to the social media profiles where they are posting new information as well. Thanks so much for watching.